We joked the other day that if it weren't for tariffs, we'd be talking about AI all 3 days. So we can actually now pause on tariffs for a little bit and actually have another deeper AI conversation. So there's this incredible gap between AI ambition, AI enthusiasm, AI dreams, and then AI execution and AI scaling. And there's very few people in the world that are probably more knowledgeable than Salil Parekh at this exact question of actually taking the dreams of AI and scaling them, implementing them at the enterprise level. So welcome, Salil. He's the CEO of Infosys, one of the leading digital services companies in the world, one of India's great companies, great multinationals. So Salil, welcome. Please give us your thoughts on why companies struggle to move past AI pilots to AI at scale, and what are they doing wrong? What do they need to do? What's the magic here?
So first, thanks, Justin. It is great to be here in this session, and great to not talk about tariffs. On AI, first, the promise of AI is incredible. I think there's a distinction between consumer AI, which all of us experience every day with everything that's going on, and enterprise AI. Now, there's enormous potential in what large enterprises can do with AI. Some of the constraints, one, there needs to be a clear way to demonstrate benefit at scale across the company. Most of these companies are built from acquisitions, and so there are various components to these companies, not a uniform set of structures that allow AI to be deployed. Many things that we do with AI in companies need a strong data infrastructure, and most companies don't have that. They have good data infrastructure for data that's within the company, but a lot of the unstructured data, consumer sentiment, it's not easily captured by these companies. What really needs to happen for scale to come into play is make sure that the AI capabilities that companies are driving, let's say, for example, in customer service, are capabilities that can be applied in each area of that company and not just in one part of it. The promise that has been made by many external providers, many technology companies for AI sometimes is not reflected, because many of the implementation blocks, many of the implementation impediments come into play with different divisions, different compartments of a company, and not allowing the scaling to happen that effectively. So those are some of the constraints that we are seeing. One of the ways that we want to make sure...
Are you already seeing large companies beginning to win and beat their competitors because they're scaling AI better?
So the ones that are working really well are the ones that are almost native, that have started with AI being part of everything that have been growing up. And those are typically startups that have grown up very well.
Any examples of legacy companies that have been able to do it that, or to sort of inject it or deeply and natively?
So there are some examples. We are working with 400 different clients on AI. There's a telco here in the US which have basically put an AI infrastructure across their whole company, not just in one part of it, which is working very well. There's a large accounting firm where they basically use agents. Agents are things within AI that are starting to work extremely well. Agents across their audit process.
And is the ROI close to immediate?
It's substantial, but there is a time lag to it. So maybe within about 9 months or so, the benefits for this specific example came through. But the benefits are substantial because a lot of the work that they were driving through with their junior staff is now being driven through these agents.
And so why are some companies going all in so quickly, and if it's such a quick, rapid, positive return? Why isn't every capable CEO doing this?
So almost everyone is now jumping in to do something with it. So there's no discussion that we have with any client that does not involve AI. The constraint really is more on what the expectation is. So you take the area of customer service. There we see clients getting benefits of 30, 40% in terms of productivity, but they also get increased capability in service because there are problems that they can address which were not previously being addressed because of the ability to intelligently mine all of that data. You look at things like credit risk assessment, and we have clients which are doing that, much better ability to drive credit risk assessment. We're working with clients on drug discovery. Again, they're much faster return in terms of the time spent on clinical trials. So there are examples which are specific to different industries.
But is this sort of the depth and the intensity of the transformation using AI a leadership choice, a board choice, or is it an industry choice? Where is the choice being made, or where's the lever?
So there, the way we've seen success come through is where the leadership is fully committed. For example, working with a client in a bank, we have the bank CEO on a monthly basis working with our teams, reviewing what the progress is, and you can see the change coming through with that bank in terms of AI. The real driver is someone who believes that this can help them and show tangible results through their company. What we see with boards is quite different. I think boards typically we found are quite impatient with getting the change going, but sometimes not fully aware of what needs to be done. And in that rush, some of the early examples of the projects being done may not result in a benefit, and so some frustration being built up. But where we see real benefit is where the business side and the technology side in a company, driven by the leadership, are working to make these changes.
And what are the questions that a CEO needs to be directing to his CTO? What's the most important urgent question?
So the most critical question really is, from my perspective, is there a benefit that the business see and that the technology can support, and not just being driven for the sake of technology? There are examples or use cases where the technology is incredible, but there's no real business support for driving that through. And the second is the company or the organization ready for the change that's going to come about? And it's typical of these large technology projects that if those two are not addressed well enough, we are more likely to see failures on those projects.
Are there examples of companies that are over-embracing AI too quickly, and perhaps that you think that it's reckless?
So today, almost everyone that large enterprise world has gone exceedingly fast in the first phase. And what we are now seeing are people sort of stepping back and saying, let's look at what is sustainable in terms of driving a benefit through this. And so that's, and part of it is not that the large enterprises were doing it in a wrong way. There was tremendous pressure because of consumer AI making so much change that you go home and the way consumer AI is being used, you almost compelled to drive something within the company.
So it's often said that one of the biggest obstacles to scaling AI in large enterprises is actually not the AI itself, but rather the people. What are your thoughts on that? And how can that be overcome as an obstacle?
So on the people, you're absolutely right. I think the constraint that we see there is people being open-minded in organizations, because this is a huge change for the day-to-day work of large numbers of people. Let's say the credit risk example, or let's say the drug discovery example. And so that openness to change needs to be very much part of it. And the support, because there are likely to be many failures on AI projects. So the support from an organization that when those things go well, you're supported, but when they don't go well, you're not thrown out because that's something that's gone wrong.
So we have 15 seconds left. What's your lightning round answer to best advice you've ever given a CEO about their AI strategy?
The best advice we've given, or certainly I've given, is be sort of long-term in thinking, but not too impatient in the short term.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. So it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Please join me in thanking Salil. Very good.